Did you write The Gift of the Ladybug?
So everything here today is inspired by my son, TJ. TJ, 5 years ago, he passed away of a mitochondrial condition called Lee syndrome, which is a genetic condition, fatal. And, you know, when he was born, we were sent home with this happy, healthy little baby boy. And, you know, my first child, only child. And things got a little crazy. And then his head control wasn't quite there. And the doctor eventually said, look, your son, he's not going to see his second birthday.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
That had to have been the worst moment.
of my life,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. But the thing is, though, this is why I'm really here and why I'm inspired, is that TJ, although he was in this he had this fatal disease, he had shots and spinal taps, I mean, you name it,
Everything.
surgeries. And through all of this, he lived this like happy, joyous, like amazing, peaceful life. And it was just, as a mom, it was extraordinary to watch this and think, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter what you have going in your life. You can still be happy and you can still be at peace. And that is what inspired everything in my life.
So there was a lesson that he taught you to
Yes.
start. So who's this? This book is for children, but you read this book. You read this to mom and dad, and everybody can benefit about reading The Gift of the Ladybug. So let's talk about some of the things that it does for people. It gives you ways to cope.
Right. It gives you ways to cope. It really changes the conversation from what is wrong to what is right.
You can be
And
positive.
You can
even
be
in the
positive.
worst.
And the thing is TJ achieved this. It's like even in the very, very worst,
He was able to do that.
He was able and thrive. Like he thrived.
And now, when you read this, I introduced it because it kind of talks about, it doesn't have to be a fatal situation that you're
course.
dealing with. We face challenges, and it's all perspective. I mean, on the
That's
spectrum of things that happened, yours is any parent's nightmare. The worst that they can think of happened to you. But you don't know that when you're in the middle of, okay, I've got this autism diagnosis, or I have this ADHD diagnosis, or
Right.
Down syndrome, or any different thing, that it's not the perfect picture postcard scenario.
Right. It's true, and that's kind of what this book is really about, celebrating differences. And no matter what your difference is, whether it's autism, special needs, or polka dots versus a purple body versus a white body, it's about loving yourself exactly as you are and celebrating your differences.
And you've got a kind of, I saw there's a little easy way to do it there. Allow, release, and trust. And that's in the book. Now, these are really kind of big concepts, though. You teach these to kids? I mean, how do you...
Yeah, and it kind of opens the conversation to kids. So many moms said, oh, I didn't know how to talk about these the things. This book, it starts the conversation and it makes it so simple. It boils everything down to you're perfect exactly as you are.
Okay.
And it's just this easy concept to take. And that's why you can talk to kids about it.
Okay, so the first one is allow yourself to feel. This is really important. I think when parents are going through things with kids, their friends or whatever want them to be better, like just shake it off, or
Right.
your pain is really bringing me down, you know what I mean? And it's like not
So true.
fair to those people that are in the midst of the suffering. You need to allow people to feel what they feel.
That's right. And also, I found allow yourself to feel. So if you get a diagnosis that maybe you don't like, autism, Downs, and it's tough, you can just allow it to be tough. It's okay that it's tough, and you can grieve it. And the more that you allow it, it'll pass right through you, and you can get to good again.
Okay, so that's really important, to let yourself feel those things that you're feeling.
Yes.
And then release. Now, I think this is probably really important for the kids too. What is the release part of it, of your, advice?
So to release, really, so once you allow your feelings, let them go. So for kids and adults, I mean, any kind of activity, running, screaming into a pillow if you're angry, or crying, allow yourself to cry and somehow get it out of your body. You can talk it out, you can write it out, draw pictures, journal. There's all kinds of ways to just get whatever emotions you're feeling out of your body, and it literally heals you from within. I've experienced it. I can tell you it's true.
That's the truth. I do. I mean, in my own, one of my kids was having some frustrations with fine motor skills and doing all these. He'd get his paper back and we'd look at it, and he'd either be happy or not happy about whatever the grade was. But then if he was mad, he's like, "Can I rip it up?" I'm like, "You can rip it up. It's okay." You were just with this one, and one of the teachers said, well, maybe that shows him you don't value it. And I said, no, it shows him it's a chance now to, all right, I made it through this writing the letter S 100 times, but now I just don't want to look at this anymore. And so for us, it was what worked. It was a release of that frustration. I made it through this project, but now I'd like to smash it against the wall.
And that's healthy. I think it's great.
Okay, good. That's good, because like I said, me and this teacher were like, I'm like, I do care, but he wants to rip it up.
Yeah.
Then trust. I think that this is hard, one of the harder ones to trust. Who has to trust who? How do you build trust? What's the deal with trust?
I think this is the hardest one
Yeah.
too. And this is the thing that TJ taught me most. Trust. And really what it is trust yourself that you have what it takes to get through whatever you're going through. So trust yourself. You can do this. You can get through it. You might not think you can, but you can. And also trust that for some reason, this is here to serve you. And you will be okay.
You will be okay.
So it's like trusting yourself, trusting the universe, trusting God, whatever it is that you need to cling on to, just trust that you're going to be okay, because you really are.
And so it's been, is it 2 years, did you say?
It's actually been 5 years.
5 years. 2 years since the book came out.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
And what's the difference between then and now for you?
Well, I'll say I did this allow, release, and trust thing with myself over and over and over, and I have to say I've literally healed from the inside out, and I can feel it. I think it's time, work, and doing these kinds of techniques, really just allowing yourself to be you, but then also allowing yourself to move forward.
So let's talk about truth. First of all, the book is thegiftoftheladybug.org is the site. So
Yes.
if you want to get a hold of the book, that's the way to go, right?
Yes, thank you. Or Amazon.
Or Amazon, that's easy to remember. But then the next part of your journey is what you're doing now. And when you mentioned work, this is really a philanthropic thing that you're doing.
That's right.
You're helping other people. But then you also have to, I think part of it is there has to be something that for you that is enjoyable, that you have goals and you have exciting things down the road. And so talk about, you have a blog also, and you're an editor, a food editor, and so that's sort of another nice thing for our show, but that's where you wound up finding your new purpose.
It's right. Basically, after TJ passed away, my husband and I said, okay, after that, anything goes. So what in the world do you want to do? And
Right.
we asked ourselves this, anything, what do you want to do? And I love food. I've loved food my whole life. I had a food business in Chicago for 3 years, and I came back to food, and I thought, I love food television, food writing, food journalism, and so I got back to that. And my husband, Troy, wanted photography. So we thought, okay, you know what? If we could do anything in the world, what would it be? Well, we would eat our way through northern Italy. Right? Duh.
Sure.
And so, we just did it. And so we literally, for 10 weeks, we worked our way through northern Italy, and we harvested olives, and we made cheese, stinky cheese in caves.
Wow.
And we just had an absolute ball. And that was one way that we found healing and strength to move forward and find our passions.
Well, and you are of the perspective too that you don't there isn't tomorrow, there is just today. Right?
Yes.
So you did it. You grabbed onto it and you continue to do so.
That's right. Just go. You can do it.
You can do it. What's the name of your blog?
It's chopsizzlepop.com. Thank you so
Perfect.
much. And there's videos from Italy, and in the archives there's all kinds of fun blog posts and pictures.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Okay, so remember,
fun.
thegiftoftheladybug.org, Amazon, or chopsizzle.
Chopsizzlepop.com.
Sizzle. Okay, perfect. All right, so you can also see those on fullplate.tv. We will link to both of those. When we come back, we have a person who also took her health by the lapels and shook it around, and wait till you see what happened to Queen Cookie, one of our favorite guests. Stay with us.